We have so many stories in our lives, but our stories are not always heard. On the Hear My True Story podcast, we tell our own true stories.
Before the white car backed, our head teacher had scattered. Looking at him, I could only see his tie that was flying backwards, waving at us, and he disappeared in thin air.
I want to share my life story. I want to share my voice with the people because I know that just a small joke I can tell through this podcast, it will make someone smile.
When you ask me what I fear most in life, I would definitely respond to you and say it's fear itself.
We are fighting for togetherness. We are fighting for equal rights. We are fighting to end injustice.
You don't have to be a storyteller or writer because, guess what? Life writes the best stories.
Hear my true story.
I'm so excited today. In today's episode, I'm joined by Carol and Mandy. These are my friends and colleagues. We work together. We have known ourselves from Uganda and now we are in Germany. Yeah, so we shall share our personal experiences just like we do in our podcast. But the theme today, the topic is about the dogs. Wow, I'm sure you're excited to know about the dogs. So, Mandy, you can introduce yourself. Yeah.
Thank you, Otako. I'm grateful to be here with you guys today. My name is Mandy. I'm from Germany. I was in Uganda for my internship in 2018. And since then, I'm still going to Uganda because I really fell in love to that country. And yeah, we are now here in Marburg, meeting all of us since we have not seen us for a while.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mandy. I met Mandy also in Uganda when she came for the internship in the organization that I was also working for. So now, Carol.
Yes, thank you so much, Otako, for hosting me. I'm really very happy to be in Marburg. I am Carol. I come from Uganda, and currently I'm living in Stuttgart, Zeelenburg. And I'm really excited to talk about dogs because it's really a happy thing for me to talk about. I'm really excited. And I'm so happy that we shift from Uganda to German. Like, we meet each other here, we meet each other there. Isn't that exciting?
It's really nice, living two cultures at the same time and then experiencing them at the same time. But the point is, what are our cultures in issue of pets and maybe dogs? How do you see dogs? Okay, maybe Carol, could you give us a preamble when you hear dogs in Ugandan perspective?
Well, in Uganda, dogs are dogs. Dogs are pets which are supposed to guard people because in our culture, let's say when in the long stories, a man had his own dog and the dog was guarding his cow. The man was not hugging a dog. Rather, the dog was there to guard the man, to protect the man from the wild animals, to protect the man from everything, from thieves. So that is how the dog comes in as a pet, where people still have the dogs at their homes and they sleep outside to guard the house, to guard the family. Yeah.
So generally, the dogs in Uganda are looked at more as a security reasons. If you have a dog, you have it for security. If you have a dog, you don't have it for sleeping or hugging.
No.
Yeah. So then, Mandy, so what is the dogs in the German perspective? You're a German person. Yeah, you can tell us.
Okay, so for me, I have grown up with dogs. They have always been like a family member. And let me tell you, in Germany, Germans, they have the problem, I think maybe not just Germany, also Europe. People have the problem that they treat dogs as human beings. So they're hugging dogs, they're sleeping with the dogs in their same bed, they are inside, so they're not just there for protecting the house or something, they're there for for giving the humans love and taking care for each other, all these things.
In my culture, the dog also receives love when it is outside.
Wow.
It also receives love because they cook for it food, because someone will really buy meat for that dog. Isn't that love?
I never said just that.
Wow, this is a very interesting conversation. You see, looking at two different perspectives of dog and that Mandy. When did you first fall in love with dogs as a pet?
I think because we had a dog who was called Holly, and I was growing up with her, so she was always been there, like my sister. She was. I have spent time with her like for over 10 years of my life, so I couldn't imagine to live without her because she was a family member. This is how I fell in love with dogs. Okay. I got used to have always a dog around me, and it was not just a pet, it was a family member.
Wow. And Carol, have you ever fallen in love with a dog as a pet, or do you have something different other than a dog to be your pet?
For me, I really fell in love with a cat, which cat stole our food. We cooked food for dinner, and it was fish. You know, cats love fish, and it stole our fish for dinner. Everyone was very angry with it. So, and we had to punish her. It was to sleep outside this night, and a dog beat her. They ate one of the side of her face, and then after she was also angry with us, with everyone, with everything, and it went off. So since then we did not have dogs. We only had rats in the house, which were not even our friends. But,
wow. It's interesting. In Europe, these people have a lot of pets. The rats, the cats. But today we are focusing on the dogs. Yeah.
And can I ask Caro something?
Yeah, you can ask Caro something.
Because isn't it that your family is having a dog right now?
Yes, that is true. My family is having a dog right now, but that dog is for security. Now our dog is called Ginger. Yeah, and he's really a very sweet dog, but it is for security. It protects the whole family from thieves. There are a lot of thieves in Uganda, so it protects them from thieves and everything. Yeah.
Wow. The dog is both in our cultures, both here in German and in Uganda. But I would like to say something to Mandy. Right now you have a dog. What is the name of the dog?
His name is Balu, and he is the father of Ginger.
As we are conversing right now, Balu is just aside there, looking at us, talking about him. So, how come that he was named Balu? And what does that mean?
Because when he was a puppy, I was always thinking, like, which name can I give this dog? And he was looking like a duko.
A dubu.
A dubu.
What is that?
A dubu is a bear.
A bear, okay.
Yeah. So this is why I was thinking about the Jungle Book. And so I remembered there is this big bear called Balu. So I decided to call him Balu.
Yeah. It's a sweet name, Balu. Wow. So how did you manage to bring Balu from Uganda to Germany?
It was not easy. My friends, they were asking me for like documents, for different vaccines. I had to send his blood to a specific lab so that they can check his blood if it's fine, if he is healthy. So I had to do all this bureaucratic stuff, and I had to spend a lot of money to bring him here.
So what was the moment that you will never forget?
Maybe that I had to extend my stay because I didn't plan to be in Uganda for this long time. So I had to extend because he was not old enough to be taken. Then the first time when we sent the blood someone helped me to send, because he was going to Germany. He was going with Balu's blood and he was scared that someone can ask him stupid questions. but everything worked out. But at the end of the day, the blood was poured.
Oh.
So we had to repeat everything. I had to extend my flight again and again. And yeah.
And how long did it take you to process this?
Like in totally, it was like 6 months, because he had to be 3 months old to get his vaccine. And then I had to add other 3 months to get everything done with his papers.
Wow. So it seems that you lived in Uganda, where there's a different culture of identifying dogs in the society. What was the worst conflict that you'd say? There's a moment that this happened and I didn't understand why these people were thinking like this.
Okay, there are different things. Like when you're talking about the worst thing, I think it was violence. Yeah, I think you should never blame people. You should always ask yourself, why are they behaving like that? Why are they thinking like that? They always have their reasons, yeah? So, but for me, what I really was making me scared was that people throw stones to, like, Baloo, because they were scared. He was he was a baby, so he wanted to play always with everyone. So I really understand that people, they have experience. It's always about experience, yeah? So they have experience, they're getting scared. So this is why they wanted to protect themselves. But at the same time, they were scaring the dog. And yeah, I think it's always about experience. I have met people and kids who were so scared about dogs. And then they started to get to know Baloo. And they started to love Baloo. There's a friend of mine, he never had experiences and he was so scared of any dog. Then he started to love Baloo. He was always taking care of him when I didn't have time. And now he's helping me to taking care of Baloo's kids. So he learned how to get in touch with dogs and how to love dogs.
Yeah.
But I think that this comes from the fact that there are so many street dogs in Uganda, where these street dogs do not get vaccinated from rabies, from very many different kinds of diseases, and children are being bitten by street dogs. So in this way, children try to protect themselves from that dog, and also the parents try to protect themselves or their children from the dogs. I have also a friend whose sister was bitten by a dog. She almost lost her life because it was just a street dog that was passing around, and it just found her and it bit her, and this dog had rabies. She almost died. So this is why people really don't like dogs so much.
Okay. Yeah, so I really feel these two experiences. Personally, I would say I used to love dogs. Yeah, I fought to have a dog and I got a small puppy. But then I moved with it in the village, and then this puppy was killed by the villagers because they had fear for the dog. Yeah. But then, Caro, have you ever experienced a dog? Are you being scared of a dog, or have you experienced where a dog made you like running away?
Sincerely speaking, one time when I was in Uganda, I used to like partying a lot. I was going home. It was around 2 a.m. I had just separated from my friends, and I see a gang of dogs waiting for me in the corner. This is the only road to home. So I stand, what am I going to do? So because usually when you see a dog at home, when you touch down, they all run away because they are scared. They know they are going to be beaten. I touch down, the dogs are coming. They're like over 12 dogs. I ran. You know, there is this thing they say that if the dog licks your feet, you will be overwalking. That's like a proverb at home. The dogs were licking my feet because they almost caught me. But luckily, I found someone at the corner, and he was a man, and he chased them away, and they were all scared and they went away. So from that day, I feared dogs. But now when I met Baloo, yeah, at least now I'm not so scared of dogs.
Then that brings me, you moved from Uganda, you came to Germany, where the culture of dogs is different. So what was your culture shock
My
of
friend.
the dog culture in Germany?
My friend, there is a lot to be shocked about. I was surprised that a dog pays a ticket. A ticket, like, for a child. Like, some dogs even pay more than their owners.
A bus ticket, a train ticket,
a train ticket.
a car ride.
Exactly. That shocked me so much.
Wow.
I was so shocked that people sleep with their dogs in the rooms, on the beds. The dogs are climbing on people's beds. I was so shocked. One time I found Baloo in my bed. I was waking up feeling Baloo next to me.
Feeling happy.
I was dreaming. I was not feeling happy. I was dreaming. And I felt, okay, maybe someone is next to me. This person is warm. Changing my face, I'm seeing Baloo. Oh, I was shocked. I was like, go out of my bed.
It was not like that.
Anyway, so is that all that you can share with us about your culture shock with dogs? Paying tickets, paying
Another culture shock, taking walks with a dog.
Wow.
Going for caca, going for this, going for that. For us, the dogs know where their toilets are. Everywhere is a toilet for the dogs. They go for themselves. You don't need to walk with them. Even the ginger we have at home, our dog, he makes his caca somewhere. No, no one has to go with him for a walk, for a jog. No, he plays with himself. He does not need anyone to play with him. No.
Oh, wow.
That is a shock.
It is a shock. Also me, it was a shock. In Germany, I found all kinds of dogs. There are small ones that are like a rat, like a cat. But one thing I learned about the dog in Europe or in Germany, dogs resemble their owners.
Yeah, that is true. One time I saw a guy. No, I first saw that dog. The dog has a long face. So I looked at that dog. This thing came in my mind because someone told me that dogs look like their owners. Look at the dog, you will know how their owners look like. I turned my face to look at the owner. The owner was long and tall. The face was long like his dog. I was like, this is true from this day.
Yes, dogs resemble the owners. I was also told that by Mandy, who told me one day that, yeah, dogs resemble the owners. That's true. Dogs, you have passport, like identification. They need to be identified. They pay taxes for dogs. But Mandy will give us more information about that. So, the thing is this, Mandy. Tell us, why are dogs, pets, important in the life of someone in Germany, to your own perspective? Not in a professional way, because you are not a dog professional person, but you can share with us, the listeners, the people there who would like to know. People like me who come from Uganda, or maybe some people come from other parts of the world. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people should not forget they're also living objects, not just dogs, like any animal. They're also living objects, and for some people it's good to have responsibilities. So they can even help you out when you are depressed, when you are not feeling good, because they're taking care of you, they're giving you love, and they're like they're trustful objects, not objects, like they're more than that, and they force you to go out with them. You always have to be out, having walks, having fresh air, so things that are good for you, but maybe sometimes you can't motivate yourself to do those things. So you have something that treats you they treat you to treat you in a better way, like that yourself can treat yourself.
Yes, so I understand it this way, that if you look at the reverse psychology, yeah, dogs are actually health pets for people. We look at this every day, and in the morning, someone has to wake up, take the dog outside for a walk, which is very easy in Europe, in Germany, when it's so cold. Someone can decide to stay inside. I think that's really, dogs become the masters of German people. Not so?
Yeah, but of course there are also people who are just selfish. They just see like people are coming to me saying, "Oh, your dog is so beautiful. Where can I buy a dog like that?" And I'm thinking, "Oh my God, he's not like something like a clothes that you can buy at a market." So some people, they just want, I don't know, they just want to, they're selfish. I even don't know what is the goal to have a dog when you don't want the character of the dog. You are just, it's just important for you how they look like, and I even don't know what's the goal. Like, why are people doing this? I don't get it.
So did you buy Baloo or you?
No, for me, I found Baloo when he was really small. He was even, I think, too small to be separated from the mother. So a friend asked me if I can help him to support Baloo. Then I started to take care of him, and yeah.
And then a friend realized that he can't be a better father or mother and said, you can take Baloo.
Yes.
Are dogs so expensive to buy in German? And what are the requirements to have a dog in German? If Carl wants to have one.
I think it depends, because there are private persons who are selling dogs, and there are also this people who are doing it as their job. And for this, I think sometimes you need, it depends also on the dog. When there are these dogs who need more trainings, I think there's even, you have to do like a training pass, a training course that allows you to have a dog like that.
I heard that also there are dogs that if they fail their Ausbildung, they cannot do the jobs they're supposed to do. Like here, I've seen in Marburg, a city where there are so many people with visual challenges. They cannot see well, and they need a dog that can lead them in their daily life. So dogs do the Ausbildung, and if they can't pass, then they will not be there to support the people with visual challenges, people who cannot see. Yeah, Carol, you had something to say.
Yeah, I was really amused by that dogs can be trained to help people with visual challenges. Because if I look at a dog in this point of view, because they are really so helpful. They can be so helpful that someone is independent. Yeah, even if they have help of a dog, they can still go to work, because then the dog is trained where the street is, when the person can cross, when the person can do everything that they are supposed to do. That is so amazing. But also, how do they really maintain it? Because dogs are really playful. If it sees someone throwing a stick or a ball flying, I believe that dogs want to catch it because they want to play. Usually the dogs are still young. They are not going to get an old dog with 13 or 14 years to be of help for someone. How do they make it, and how do they maintain that? Do you have any idea about that?
No, I can just tell you that I don't like those things at all, because of course they're helpful, but I believe that they're also, that we are now in 2021, maybe in 2022, when you are listening to this podcast, and there are other things that can be helpful for people. And you don't have to use living objects just for yourself, because of course dogs, they want to do those things, but they're just training the dogs for their own benefits. So what's the benefit from the dog then? He just lives for you. He doesn't have an own life.
But the question is, a dog is supporting someone with a visual challenge. So the dog is the eye of that person. You understand? Isn't that beautiful and nice?
Yeah, of course. It looks beautiful and nice, but when you try to think like as a dog, is that a nice life just to be there for your human being? You cannot go to this stick to grab it, because you're supposed to be there at your human being all the time.
Okay, I understand your point. Like, you need your freedom. So that means I think more dogs in German don't have freedom.
Yeah.
What do you say about that, Mandy?
I think so too. Even for Balu, when we came to Germany, of course, he didn't have that freedom that he has in Uganda, because there he was like, how Caro said, he was able to do his caca everywhere he wanted. He was going everywhere where he wanted. Sometimes I met him somewhere. Just in the night he came into the house. And now in Germany he's staying with me in a flat. We don't have a garden. He just have to come out. He's just allowed to go out when I decide, okay, we're having a walk now. But yeah, we should not forget that also dogs, they are really good in socializing. Mm-hmm. They're really good in socializing. And I think Balu is still happy. He's happy. Sometimes their dogs, they really get they make themselves dependent on human beings. But it's also the task of human beings to try to avoid that they're not too much dependent, because then they even can't be happy when you're going to work. They're crying all the time. Yes. So you have always to have the balance.
The balance. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Mandy, you talked about dogs being happy. How can you tell that that dog is happy, and how can you tell that the dog is not happy? Because it's something that cannot, it's someone, I don't even know if it is someone, but it is someone that cannot talk or say, oh, I am tired, oh, I am hungry. How will you determine that I am happy, I am not happy? How?
My dear, they are talking, not in your language, but they are talking.
Okay, tell me about that language.
So for dogs, you can really see it, like how they're behaving. You can see it from their body language. Some dogs, they are crying, and they can get depressed. They can also have depressions. And this is when they don't want to play, when they just want to sleep, when they don't come to you. You know, you see Balu, he always comes, he wants to play, he's trying to get attention, he's jumping and running, but there are also times when he's not feeling well, when he's just sleeping. When he just sleeps, yeah.
Okay, wow, that's interesting. It's really good to share such experiences. So you had Balu in Uganda. What was the funny moment when you were trying to move with the Balu in Uganda? Is there a moment that you feel like there's a day or there's this time when I was with Balu, this dog in Uganda, and people looked at me like I am maybe not a human being?
There were a lot of those moments. Oh my God. You know, for me, I'm always moving around. I'm going to this place, I'm going to this place. And I didn't have an own car in Uganda. So I was always using a taxi, a matatu.
Yeah.
So
a matatu is more of like a public taxi, like you'd say mini buses that take people around the city, move from one point of the city to another point, or move from one point of Uganda to another point of Uganda. So that's a matatu. Please just continue. I wanted to clear that.
Thank you, Chaco, for me. And when I had Balu, I was moving with Balu in a matatu. So I was standing there on Entebbe Road waiting for a taxi to take me. People, they looked at me, they started to laugh. People, they knew me about that. They were asking me, hey, are you not the Muzungu with the dog who was always there at Entebbe Road? Even with Bodas, with the motorcycle. I went with Balu, carrying him. What else? We were downtown in Kampala, where you rarely see white people, but they saw me with a dog. And there were other moments, like people started to get to know, okay, this person, she really likes dog and is taking care of dogs. So they started to throw their dogs in our compound. Then also the dogs, they saw me, I don't know. There were days when I was walking with Balu, and I walked, I looked behind me, and it was not just Balu behind me, there were other 10 dogs following me. So I had my own gang, and people started to travel with me because they said, hey, you're taking all the dogs to our place, but they were just following me.
So is there a moment that you sat in a matatu with Baloo, a dog, and you people were like, did they allow you to enter the matatu, a public transport with the dog?
Not always. So I had to wait for longer time. I knew that, okay, when I would travel with Baloo, I have to start my trip earlier because not all of them could allow me, but there were some. Sometimes they're asking me for more money, but there were always someone who was stopping and taking me with Baloo. But he was still a puppy. It was getting more difficult when he was growing.
Okay, wow. So that's interesting. Of course, yeah, in Europe, people move with their dogs in the trains, in the buses, and everywhere they move with their dogs, and that's also something different from Uganda. That's what I would say. So, Mandy, I would like to close this story. What would you like to say to someone that wants to get a dog from Uganda? What should they prepare themselves for?
They should know the process, because if you are not prepared and you don't have all your documents, your dog will get problems. And I think you should always avoid that. And you should not just be selfish to have a dog for yourself, to get your care, to get your love, your security. You should always not forget that this is also a living object that needs that has his own will.
Okay, so good. What did you learn about Uganda's culture with dogs? Is there anything that you learned that you'd like to see that if it was in Germany, it would be good?
Yeah, I think we need the balance. Like Caro said, in Uganda, it's more the dog is not supposed to enter the house and to be there for security. For me, I think it's not a problem to have the dog inside, but still, what I see from the Germans, sometimes they treat dogs as humans, and this is at the end also not good for the dogs. So we have to balance.
Okay, good. And Caro, do you have something that you learned from German culture with dogs that you would like to maybe Ugandans can also try to adopt so that they are?
Yeah, for me, I think that if the dog is not yours, do not touch. Because if you touch someone's dog, let's say a dog comes sniffing on you and then you touch it, some people are very angry about that. So you should really take care. Only if the owner says yes, then you can touch their dog. Yeah, because for them, the dogs are really, really very important. Like Mandy said, that maybe they are part of their families or they take them as children. So it is the same way how someone will not want you to touch their kids. So please don't touch people's dogs.
Yeah, I think I love that kind of culture. Not touching someone's dog is their own dog. Yeah. So before I said that we have so many dogs in Uganda that are on the street, and one time I had a conversation with Mandy, and she would really like to start like a shelter for dogs in Uganda to have them, live a better life that where there is space and freedom and care and love. So Mandy, would you like to tell us more about that vision of yours?
Yeah, I mean, this is a dream from my side. And I was never thinking about that, but then when I was in Uganda, I had a lot of puppies around me, like a lot. And I realized I really would like to take care of all of them, but I was not able to do that. And in Kampala, there's one shelter. They really are doing a great job, but there are still so many street dogs. So it's not enough, and there are so many things where you can support and where you can help, but often it's like that people forget the animals. So this is why I have the dream to support the dogs and having my own dog shelter one day.
Yeah, so we in this podcast, as we say, we create platform for people to share their own dreams and also using their real life experiences that they have gone through life. And I think in this episode, I put Mandy's contact and information in this podcast. You'll see it. And then you can definitely, if you're really interested in seeing dogs saved in Uganda, you get in touch with Mandy. I'll put the contact there, the email address, and information where you can reach her. And also you can use our email of the podcast, and then you can also reach Mandy with that. Also, another thing I would say, because of COVID-19 in Uganda, many dogs really were affected, because the more people cannot afford to have something, that means that the dogs won't afford also to have something. So I see every time on the streets in Kampala, in Uganda, many dogs are thrown, are hit by cars. People don't respect that. So there's need for awareness about dogs and how they should be protected as animals. And I think we can't say the law is there, but the law cannot be implemented without people who are there to implement it. And I think it's a good vision, Mandy. And I would say with this podcast, we are sharing this information that people reach Mandy and support her.
Yay.
In their view of getting the dog. Yeah. Of having the shelter. Save the dogs in Uganda, Mandy. Thank you. Yeah. On Carol.
Yeah.
Anything you would like to say, the last thing to the listeners?
Well, I say people support Mandy, support the dog shelter in Uganda. The dogs really want to be in a good environment. Dogs want to eat. They want to be off the streets. They want to have a shelter over their heads. Save the dogs in Uganda.
Yeah, thank you so much for our listeners. And as I said, today's podcast, we are sharing our personal true experiences. And Balu has woke up right now. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, Music by Edwin Matovo, hosted and produced by Otako. Subscribe to our podcast for more stories and visit us on our website, hearmytruestory.com, for more stories. All the links are listed in the show notes of this podcast.